Hi, I'm Jeff DeRiso from Beckman Collaborative, and today I'm going to show you how to set up automated alerts for your KPIs in Zoho Analytics. These alerts can be delivered via multiple channels, including email, in-app notifications, and business messaging applications such as Slack or Zoho Cliq. And if you are a Cliq user, I'll show you some additional options to make your KPI data even more accessible to your team. So let's get into Zoho Analytics, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, here we are in Zoho Analytics. I'm here in a report right now. We navigate to our reports with our reports tab on the left side, and I've chosen the billable hours per day. Now, if I click edit design here, we'll see that this report is actually based on the timesheet from Zoho projects, and this average billable hours by day that's in the y-axis here is an aggregate formula that calculates based on our timesheets. So I've referenced aggregate formulas in a previous video, so please check out that video if you don't know what that is. And you can see I have this threshold here of 5, which is our KPI value. So we'll go back to view mode for a minute. Now there are multiple ways to share these reports and dashboards in Zoho Analytics. The simplest way is if I want to share it right now, I can just click share. And I can make this view public if I want to share outside of my organization, or I can send it by email, Slack, or Cliq as any of these options. And that will just send the message right now to a specific Cliq channel. And you can even copy and paste the link to the view right there in the message. So that's how you can share it right now. But we want to do an alert because we only want to get a notification when we're crossing this threshold. So let's click this clock icon here in the top right and create alert. So we'll call it billable hours KPI. And here's where we can set the criteria of when we want to get this alert based on the value that's coming out of this formula, average billable hours by day. Now we can say equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, between. So let's say we want to know when it gets above 5, but we also want to know when it gets below 3.5. So we can say if it's not between 3.5 to 5. And that would tell us anytime it goes below 3.5 or above 5. But for now, we'll just do greater than or equal to. And instead of putting a value here, we'll just put our threshold, KPI value. So there's different ways to do that criteria. And of course, we can add more conditions here. And then we choose how often we want to check this value. So you can do this daily, hourly, weekly, or monthly. And I'll just, for this one, since it's not something we check on very often, we'll just say the last day of the month. We'll check for it every month. And we'll do it at 8 a.m. And then there's this checkbox here that says alert only if the result changes. So whenever we check for this, if it's the same as it was the last time we checked, we won't get an alert. So it's up to you really whether you want to check that or not, but that's the option you have here. So I'll just leave that for now. And then we have what actions are we going to perform when we check and the criteria is met. So what we can do is we can send an email, an in-app notification. We can send a Slack message, Microsoft Team message. We can create a webhook request for a third-party application, or we can connect to several third-party applications using actions by Zoho Flow. And that's what we're going to do today. So we'll check this box, and that brings us up to this screen where we create an action. So we'll create an action called okay. And then we'll search for Cliq in the applications menu. And that brings us our menu down here where we have to create a connection. I've already created one, and you can create a new one here if you need to. I've discussed in other videos about creating a connection. It's the same process. And then we select our action, and we have several options here. We can post in a channel, a chat. We can post as a bot. We can post to a specific user. So you just decide from these options what you want to do. I'll choose message and channel, and then I'll click configure here. And this is where we choose our channel. I'll choose command center. That's where we use to get our vital updates about things that are going on. For our message, we'll say that or whatever you want your alert message to be. And of course, we can also dynamically insert the URL of this view by clicking this here in our insert variable menu. So if we're happy with that, we just click done and we click save and we click save again. And we have now configured our alert. So when this value at the end of the month, when we check and it's above 5, we will get that alert. So that's how you use alerts in Zoho Analytics. It's an easy way to keep track of your KPIs, which are usually measured through aggregate formulas, to check it periodically and to get an update of whether we've met our KPI this month or this quarter or this year or not. So when we receive our Cliq alert, it'll show up in this chat bar down here. Now this chat bar can be seen in several Zoho applications such as CRM and projects and desk. So these alerts will not go unseen no matter which app you're working in. So whether you're part of the marketing team or the customer service team, you can get these alerts about the data that's important to you. So if you are a Cliq user, there's a few other ways that we can customize how we deliver this data from Zoho Analytics into Cliq. So let's go over to Cliq and I'll show you how that works. So here we are in Zoho Cliq. We're in our command center channel where we push all our main updates. And in addition to the alerts that we can send from Zoho Analytics, we can also create a similar functionality with something called schedulers in Zoho Cliq. And I have done a previous video about schedulers, so please check that out. But specifically for this video, I want to talk about how we went to Zoho Analytics and we got the result of an aggregate formula and then created a scheduled message to show us the result of that formula in a much similar way as the alert does. So I'll show you how we did that by going up to my icon here and clicking bots and tools and schedulers, and we'll click the customer lifetime value. So customer lifetime value is an aggregate formula that we have in our Zoho Analytics, and it's a formula that's built on top of 3 other formulas, which are average purchase value, average purchase frequency, and average customer lifespan. So this looks at all of our historical invoices and does 3 formulas and then a formula on top of those 3 formulas to get this one final number. So in this scheduler, I've done an API call to Zoho Analytics to get the value of my aggregate formula. And I do that using the formula ID. And now there's another API call we can do in our Zoho Analytics API to get that formula ID. We can get all our formula IDs. So first we would have to do that, get the formula ID, and then we use this value request URL to get the actual value of one of our formulas. So that's what we've done here. We've gotten the customer lifetime value aggregate formula value. And then what we're doing is we're rounding it off to 2 decimal places. And then we convert that number to a text string so that we can add our thousands comma to it using this function here. And then we actually format the body of our message using this JSON object. And then we put that as a parameter in our post to channel integration task. And that's what gave us this message right here with this nice button and this nicely formatted analytics helper image and a custom name. So the way we did that was we go to our message builder here. And this allows us to format the message however we want in this builder and preview it here and then copy and paste the code into our function. So let's, for example, and we'll get a PNG file from a URL and paste it here. And now we have our custom look to our message that's going to our channel. And then of course we type our message text here and it shows up in the preview. We can add a button. We can customize the button text and we can add card, other components like a list, a table, images, text, or a label. And once we get it looking the way we want it to look, we can either view diluted script and copy and paste this, or we can simply just get the JSON object. And I prefer this way. I just find it to be a little more readable. So I copied this and I ended up here. And then we can, of course, insert our CLV string value into our Cliq message text. And if I look at the settings of our schedule here, let's click on our schedule. We click edit configuration. We have the similar type of options as we do of our alerts in Zoho Analytics. We can get this periodic check, and similar to Zoho Analytics, if we want to, we can build conditional logic into our code that only sends the message if we've reached the threshold. So we can easily code that with diluted scripting language as well. So we can achieve essentially the same result as we do with the Zoho Analytics alert, but we do have a little more options for how our message is going to look. What if I want this information instead of scheduled periodically? What if I want it on command? So we can also do that. If I were to copy and paste, for example, this entire function, and instead of using a scheduler, I go to commands, and we'll create a command, and we'll call it so anytime you type in CLV, it will give you the customer lifetime value. And we'll type in customer lifetime value as our hint. And you can choose whether you want it to be just you or the entire organization. And you can upload a custom image for your command here. So I can upload that same Zoho Analytics image. And you can write a description as well. So if I click save and edit code, what I can do here is paste that code. And instead of using our send message task, we simply return the JSON objects and we click save. So now if I click command CLV /CLV and I click enter, we allow external APIs, of course, because we're doing an API call to Zoho Analytics. So we click allow, and that grants permission for 60 days. So with this message won't come up every time we do it. And here we are with a similar message, and we can choose whether we want to post this into the channel or just look at it and close it. So in addition to being able to schedule periodically to check for information, we can also use / commands to get the same information on command. So in this video, we talked about several ways to bring the results of our aggregate formulas into where our team is working, whether that's email or Slack or Cliq. And of course, if we're using Cliq, that gives us more options because it is part of the Zoho ecosystem. And we can use diluted scripting language to create a more customized experience. So I hope you got something out of this video. Please leave any questions you have in the comments. And you can always contact Beckman Collaborative for support. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.